Hi, welcome to another exciting episode of the Andre the Beast Creighton Show. Another exciting show, definitely another exciting guest. Two beautiful women, two beautiful crowns. We're talking Miss Royalty International today, the beauty pageant that's sweeping the world. Now, I noticed that they are two mature ladies, because when you think about beauty pageant, you usually think about a little bit younger generation of women or young girls. But these women decided to pivot. They wanted to pivot in their lives. And they're here to share that journey on how they did it, and more importantly, to encourage other women that, hey, just because you think life is over and you want to do something different, this may be the way to go. Let's welcome to the set Helen and Nadia to the show. How you ladies doing?
Good. Thank you for having us.
Miss Royalty International, a beautiful title. How did all that come about? Let's start with you. How did that come about?
So for me, my title is Miss Royalty International Elite, which means I'm in the 55-plus division.
Oh.
And Nadia?
I am Ms. Royalty International Woman, and from 45 to 59.
Are you an elite too?
I'm woman. Woman is my title. Hers is elite, mine is women.
So why the difference? Okay, we know that's what your age, but what does the woman represent?
The age groups. It's the age group. Each age group has a different title name.
How long has this organization been around?
So it's been around for a long time. And the reason I picked Miss Royalty International is because it's all-inclusive. So as we have age divisions, it goes from young adult, teen, all the way to my division, which is elite, which would be the senior division. But it's also inclusive of gender, races, ethnicity, and sizes. So it's not just when you think of pageant, a size 2, like you said, younger, 20, young adult, young adolescent. It goes younger than that.
Let me ask a question. Sit back and let's talk for a minute. You guys are mature women. And when you think about beauty pageants, you like I said, you think a little bit younger. Let's start with you, Nadia. What made you decide to get into this? And what was the end game? What were you dealing with that you said, okay, I'm going to make a shift. I want to do this?
Well, I started first with runway shows with Model Icon with Sherry Gerhardt. And I saw a design on the internet, and I said, wow, I would love to be in a fashion show. That's how it all started. And I contacted Sherry because the fashion show was in like 3 weeks. And I asked her if she was looking for models. And she said, well, actually, she said, have you ever modeled or done runway before? I said, no. I said, but I'm a fast learner. So she's like, send me some pictures, send me your walk. She's like, and I'll, give it to the designers, and then I'll ask them. So I did, and then she got back to me, and she said, yes. So I did my first runway show with her. Then I did the second runway show, and she said, I really think you should get into my pageant system, Miss Royalty International. She's like, I think you'd be a good fit. And I believe everything happens for a reason, and there's timing for everything.
Right.
If my mom was very sick with cancer a few months before, and she passed away, I wouldn't have had the opportunity if it had been a few months earlier.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, she said yes, I'm going for it.
Right.
So I decided to do the pageant because she was talking about platforms. When you're in a pageant, you have to choose a platform. And that is something that is very close to your heart.
Right.
You have to advocate for it. So at the time, my grandson had attempted suicide.
Oh.
And my son, his father, died of suicide 8 years ago.
Oh.
So it was very personal to me. So this is the perfect opportunity to bring awareness. My son had many of the warning signs, but we didn't know, about
Right.
suicide enough to know what the signs were. But so I've been taking courses, classes, and I felt it was my mission to inform people of the warning signs. So that's what I do. I go to events, meetings,
Right.
and speak about suicide prevention.
Man, that is. I'm sorry for the loss, but that's really powerful that you decided to. Things happen for a reason,
Correct.
and for you to do this is definitely 5 stars salute. Let's talk about your story. I heard a little bit of it off camera. You used to be overweight, bullied. No.
So I was heavy my entire life. At one point, I was pushing the scale at 300 pounds.
Wow.
And I am now thinner than I've ever been since like 8th grade. And like I said, I'm going to be 60. However, the lack of confidence has always been there. Not feeling beautiful, not feeling worthy. Back in the day, it was called mean girl syndrome. Now it would be bullying, no matter what, gender you are. And I decided to do the pageant because I watched Nadia. We have an unusual situation where we're actually neighbors in a small town. And I was going to support Nadia at the fashion show when she first did it. So I haven't been in this for a year yet. And when I was watching her, I saw how supportive and encouraging and inclusive everybody was. And it was something I definitely wanted to be a part of. So when Nadia was deciding to do her second show, she's like, you need to do this. And I was still heavier. I wasn't as thin as I am now. And I was like, you're crazy. No way. But then after talking to Sherry and being comfortable with everything that Miss Royalty International stands for, I decided to go ahead and do it. So not only did I walk the runway at 57 and model some designer outfits, I was able to also be part of the pageant. There was one caveat, though, when I was talking to Sherry. I did not want to run against Nadia because I felt I was there to support her. And it just turns out, since I'm older, the age division worked out where I was in the age division above her. And so we actually, imagine our surprise when we won our age divisions.
Yeah.
And then we had an awesome event on Labor Day in front of our community with the mayor. I know the mayor, and Nadia knows the mayor too. So we called the mayor and we said, we'd like to speak about our platforms. Mine is volunteerism. As you heard, hers is suicide prevention. And at the community event for Labor Day, it was a celebration for Labor Day, we had a couple hundred people in the audience. And they were so receptive and so informative. And approaching us afterwards, I can't tell you the conversations, we each individually had with people in our community. So my platform is volunteerism and its importance. So I asked the veterans to stand up because my dad was an Army vet, which is near and dear to my heart. And then my mother is in a memory care facility, so dementia and Alzheimer's is near and dear. So I spoke on both, being near and dear to me. But volunteerism at the entire heart of my platform and its importance for everybody is what I was encouraging everyone in our community to get involved in.
What other, were there other, when you guys were going through your, how can I say this word it makes sense? We all go through what I might call growth spurts at any age. Growth spurts consist of a lot of things. What were you going to put in that space with the loss of what you was dealing with and what you was going to do if this hadn't surfaced?
I don't know. I think now I probably would just spend more time with my grandchildren. I mean, they did lose their father. I do spend a lot of time with them. But I probably would just be working, to be honest. This gives me so much pleasure in helping other people. I helped 4 people in crisis just from the training I received.
Right.
So it's very important to me. But I probably would just, home, work.
Yeah, something to think about. What about yourself? Because if this hadn't surfaced, had you not been at the right place at the right time, things happen for a reason. You might have been a victim of something that you now stand for because you don't know how to really recognize the signs. And those signs can be contagious in a way, you know what I mean? Or should we say self-pity?
Well, I do help a group in Chicago called Restore Justice. We are headed for Springfield on Wednesday for an advocacy day. We're trying to minimize long sentences on minors in Chicago. A lot of minors, everyone is capable of making a mistake, doing something wrong, doing something stupid when they're young. And people deserve a second chance. And so we're trying to push for a bill. Well, this bill specifically is for...
is it nonviolent offenders?
Well, for all offenders. Well, I mean, even someone who, a gang activity when they're 16, they get life in prison.
Oh,
so
yeah.
there is no chance,
Yeah, there's no
those are the
chance for
people,
redemption. Yeah.
right. There's no, a lot of young children in Chicago do, crazy things. So we're trying to help, give them a second chance at life, especially, they are capable of reform. And so we advocate for them. So to make their sentences not as long, or especially if they're lifetime sentences, they're getting resentenced for shorter sentences and getting credit.
Now let's go back to you. What did you have? Did you have a plan prior to doing this?
So not this plan. I can definitely tell you that. So being single and no children, I am a competitive bowler as a hobby, which is a little bit more than a hobby, in addition to working full time. I do take care of my mom, so I was taking care of my mom up until the time I had to put her in a memory care facility. So one thing I will tell your viewers and your listeners is that anytime you have to make a very tough decision, if you do it out of love, it is never a wrong decision. So my mom is in a very, very nice place that takes very good care of her. And so like being here and being on a bowling tournament, I don't ever have to worry about her. That being said, you had asked what I would be doing if I didn't have the bowling and I didn't have this. I've always given back to my community because my father came to this country when he was a young child, and they had people help them. So I was always brought up to be helping others. I was a Girl Scout, I was a cadet, so it's just something that's been part of my nature. What I do like about Miss Royalty International is it's given me a wider voice to explain why volunteerism is important. And I'm going to give you 2 reasons. Because everybody in this room, everybody listening or watching this platform has been helped in their lifetime already, whether it's by one person or whether it's by several people. And they may have given back without realizing the impact they've made on somebody else. So the second point I'd like to point out is that from the age of 5 to the average lifespan of 78, 80, you will have the ability to impact 80,000 people in your lifetime. Over the course of your lifetime, that is 2.3 to 2.8 people per day. What if towards the end, when you're 78 and 80 years old, you could have met all of 80,000 people that you've impacted, whether directly, indirectly, or the legacy that you're leaving well beyond your lifespan? Think about that for a second.
What have you been thinking about?
So I always want to make a positive impact, and never really knowing
even during your childhood days when you was overweight, and because you could have easily went the opposite way.
Absolutely. So this is what I want to share a story with your viewers. It recently happened. I was over 50, and this is the great thing about social media, is a childhood grade school friend reached out to me through Messenger and said, "Hey, I want to thank you because you were so nice to me when we were 5 years old in kindergarten, when everybody was making fun of me and I didn't know how to color in lines, that you taught me how to color between lines." I don't remember doing that, but he remembered it.
Wow.
And he told me over 40 years later.
Sometimes all it takes is something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't touch a whole bunch of people, but you touched that one individual.
Correct. So the impact, never discount the impact you make on others.
Let's go here with this question. A lot of people would think, and I'm not being cruel, so don't take this the wrong way. I got to think what people would think.
Yep.
They would think you're crazy doing this at your age. Why ain't you, on the beach somewhere? Why ain't you, like you said, bowling? Why this? Like, what kind of satisfaction do you get out of wearing a crown that most people would say that should be for somebody younger, what do you tell them?
I would tell them that exactly like I said earlier, Nadia and I had the platform on Labor Day to go in front of our community.
Mm-hmm.
Had I not had this crown or sash, I don't know that I would have done that. I don't know that I would have asked to do that. I do give back to my community in other ways, and everybody needs to find out what works for them. However, the crown and sash opens doors that I may not have had before, and when I first did it, I agree. I thought it was crazy. Now, I think it's the best thing that could have ever happened.
What's your take?
I agree. This has opened many, many doors for me. The mayor's office of Chicago, they want me to come and help them and speak to the children about suicide, because middle school is the right age
Right.
to get hold of them and speak to them about suicide. And it has just opened up so many doors for me. Evergreen Park high schools want me to go to their schools and speak to the children. Evergreen Park Police Department is also involved. They want me to speak to the schools. So it has opened up many doors as far as helping people and bringing awareness. Well, for my platform.
Let's go deeper than this. We talked about you guys impacting others through the services and opportunities of Miss World International. But let's talk about something that you share with the audience, your own emotional situations. How are you dealing with your own emotional situations that put you in this position to go out and amplify your voice?
So I broke down, as you saw. I was tearing up with my mom. But it gives me the ability to let other people know that it's okay. Everyone's human. Like I said, when you make a tough decision, but you make it out of love, putting my mother in a facility.
Hold that thought.
Was probably the hardest thing I had to do. Thank you. However, at the time,
because we got to cut that part out.
Thank you.
Okay, you ready? So I'm gonna go back and touch on something. One of the toughest things for you to do was to put your mom into a memory care thing. Were you already involved in this pageant prior to making that decision, or did you already join this and that helped you to make that decision?
I had made the decision a few months prior.
Okay.
And this group and this community, because it's a family community, helped me deal with that decision, helped me let other people know that it's okay to make tough decisions like that. It gave me the ability and the strength to share my story with people at work, because I did a panel on disabilities where we're dealing with people that you have to make tough decisions for.
But were you really capable of providing the care that your mother really needed?
We were,
because I know we do things selfishly,
right,
thinking we can do that, but at the end of the day, that decision had to be made.
Absolutely. And so we did take care of my mother for almost, and I say we because I'm the oldest of 7, up until like 4 or 5 years. And then it got to the point where one day, and I'm sure everybody can relate, my mother walked out of the gated home that we have and couldn't be found. And it was winter. She had no coat. A neighbor, we're lucky, looked out for her and said, "Hey, I think this is Mary Ann," and brought her back to her house. So that's when we knew that it was beyond our care now, and she needed 24/7 care, or at least 24/7 attention. So she's in a gated community where she can walk around, she can do whatever she wants, which is great. But we know she's safe. At the end of the day, we know she's safe.
I feel what you just said, because I had the same thing happen to a family member that left the house, and it doesn't have to happen at an older age. It happened to a family member that was in their, I believe, I can't tell the person's name, but they were in their 30s and they walked out the house and.
So again, whenever you make a tough decision out of love, it is never a wrong decision. So for any viewer or listener on the fence about, do I do this or do I do that? I'm going to say the tough decision sometimes also has to be made for saving yourself, because you give and you give and you give, and at the end of the day, you're stretching yourself so thin that if you're not taking care of yourself, you're really not able to take care of somebody else.
And that was my question I was asking you guys. Now, how did you take care of yourself with everything you had to deal with suicide surfacing in your life? So how did you deal with your mental health? Because when you look at the whole picture here, with the beauty pageants, with any type of thing that's going to make us better, we have to make sure that, first of all, to give our best, we have to be mentally sound. How did you deal with preparing your mental health before even giving 100% to the Miss World International?
Well, mine truly comes from faith. My dad raised us, my mom raised us to believe that, when someone leaves this earth, it's out of our control, and it truly is out of our control. We have no control on when we pass away. I had a 23-year-old son who passed away before my oldest son died by suicide. A year, 15 months, I lost two grown sons. And it was tough, but I had to be strong for my family, my grandchildren. And again, I was taught that there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do but continue to live, support your family, love your family. So that's what I do. I'm there for all my family.
Did you guys have a support network with things that you were going through prior to being involved in Miss World International?
So what I can say is, from a neighbor standpoint, I watched Nadia go through all that. And she's incredibly strong. She's very amazing. And she's very brave. And she's taking what she has learned from her loss, and she's making sure that somebody else doesn't have to go through that again. And the other thing I will say is, we have an incredible neighborhood. I work for an incredible company with great teamwork and great teammates. That was not always necessary, always the case for me. Anytime something happens with my mother, they're like, go. I get a call. And Nadia's been very supportive of my situation. And Miss Royalty International, you're going to hear some incredible platforms and amazing. I just wish I had more time to volunteer for every platform. And so it's mine are personal to me, and it's personal to everybody else. And you don't realize how strong you are until you get your voice and you get something like this to be able to apply it, so that somebody else doesn't have to go through what you did.
Let's talk about Sherry Gilhart and her impact on both of you guys. Let's start with you. How has Sherry impacted your life before we wrap up, and then we'll ask you the same question?
I love Sherry. She has been such a blessing to me, to Helen. She is not only a coach, she's a friend. She's always there for me, 100%. She's very supportive. She's just a beautiful person inside and out. I love her so much.
What about you?
So for me, I would agree. It goes beyond a business for her. She really cares about all of her Miss Royalty International title holders, their lifetime queens, and everybody who participates in her fashion show. She doesn't just say, okay, this is it, and she really sets you up for success. She builds up your confidence. She promotes the community within. She promotes everybody's platforms, with her social medias. So she really is a supportive. She's more than just a business owner. She's a mentor. She's a coach. But more than that, she's a friend. And at the same time, I don't know how she does it, she has 5 children under the age of 5, I think. Yeah. It's insane to me. So she has a great, again, support staff, sense of community. But she also knows, as much as she supports us, we're there for her. So if she needs anything, she can reach out. You know, there are times that we have to say, she'll say, I need to take a time out. We've scheduled something. Let's reschedule. There's times that things have happened in our lifetime that we've said, I can't be there because of this reason. And it's never, oh no, you gotta show up. You gotta do this. It's do what you need to do, you know, for whatever we're doing at the time.
A few more questions before we wrap up. You have a lot of mature women and young women are listening to this podcast and is watching. Who is this who is Miss Royalty International really geared for, and why is it geared, in your opinion, now even more so for women of your age?
Well, there are title holders, I believe, from the ages of 5 through 65 right now. And so it's all ages because it is inclusive. And I would say there really is no specific age for to be a title holder or to be a queen. If you believe there's something, Sherry's system, we had to go through extensive interviews before we were crowned. Before we won our title, we had to go through extensive interviews. It's a very long process, and most of our points came from that, I think, from what I remember, were the interview questions, because she wanted to make sure that we knew our platform.
Give me an interview question that
we believed in.
that was given to you. Give me at least 3 that was very mind-boggling.
What is your platform? That was number 1. What is our mission? Number 2. What does Miss Royalty International stand for? Or why do you want to be in Miss Royalty International pageant? There are many questions. And for me, it was easy because I looked at statistics. That was the first thing I did, because that's what she tells you. Depending on what your platform is, look up statistics. You need to know what you're talking about. I just want to give you a few interesting statistics. According to CDC, more than 10% of high schoolers attempt suicide each year. And I confirmed this with schools in my neighborhood, in my community, and the counselors said the numbers were actually much higher. So that's 1 out of 10 students is attempting suicide each year, high schooler. 20% are seriously considering suicide. So my mission is to inform parents of the warning signs and help them to get help, get the training so they can identify an individual or child who is in crisis.
Who is Miss Royalty International meant for in your eyes?
So to me, it's not meant for anyone in particular. It's meant for the person who would like to pursue either a platform and have a voice, because you will gain that. You will gain confidence from either participating in the fashion show or participating in the pageant. However, like Nadia said, we did go through extensive interviews, but we weren't just thrown in those interviews. We were prepared for those interviews. So Sherry prepared us well. She has some judges, mock judges, that throw questions at you. You're allowed 2 minutes, and it's timed, just like it would be a regular pageant system. So you are well prepared. So it's not geared to anybody specific. And the reason I like it is because she sets you up for success. She doesn't just say, this is what it is, this is what you're going to do. You go through coaching, extensive coaching, before you even get to the interview process.
Now, before we wrap up, what's next for you?
It's in God's hands. I'm open to whatever he throws my way.
What's next for you?
I am proud to say I am going for a lifetime queen.
Wow.
I want to continue this because I have made so much progress. I don't want to stop. And in the next few months, I would like to become an instructor for QPR training so that I can certify people for suicide prevention.
Wow. How can the viewers reach out to you? You guys have organizations and platforms that you stand for. How can the viewers reach out to you?
So I'm available on all forms of social media. So it's Helen Tomczuk, T as in Thomas, O as in Oscar, M as in Michael, C as in Charlie, Z as in Zebra, U as in Umbrella, K as in Kite. I'm on Threads. I'm on X, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on LinkedIn. If they reach out, if they have questions, they don't feel comfortable calling or doing the website, feel free to reach out. It'll be a conversation between just the two of us. Happy to answer any question they may have, and happy to friend them and watch their journeys too.
What about you?
I can be found on most social media under Nadia Kivenas, K-I-V as in Victor, E-N-A-S, and Instagram at Nadia Models.
Ladies, thank you so much for educating me and educating our viewers and letting mature women know that they can pursue this if they want to. And even if they don't want to pursue it, they can at least come and support and recommend it for somebody that they may feel had the need to do it, that wants to do it. Last question, what's your purpose?
My purpose is the volunteerism and its importance. And like I said, everybody's been at least touched by one person in their lifetime. And I just want to give back, and I want to make sure that, you know, it continues, especially with what the world's going on nowadays.
I like that. What's your purpose, baby girl?
Hope begins with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this has been another exciting episode of the Andre. The Be Say with me, ladies. Creighton. Show.
Creighton. Show. Thank you.
Thank you for having us.